Referee for this afternoon is Kelvin Jeffs. First time, in fact, I think Kelvin Jeffs has been in charge of a game with the Adelaide Rams involved. Auckland to take the kickoff. Gene Namu taking the start, and Adelaide to bring it out from their own line. And met by some very willing Auckland defence, and push back a couple of metres as Kerrod Walters just goes from dummy half to pick up Darren Doherty. Doherty, 25 metres out from his own line. As he plays the ball back to Kerrod Walters, let's check the conditions at ground level. And good afternoon to Matt McEwen.
Good afternoon, John. Well, the wind's helping Adelaide in the early, it will for the first half. The condition of the ground, it's absolutely beautiful ground. It's a great ground for watching footy too. The crowd are right on top, a lot like English conditions. So, beautiful field, open footy. Good bright day, no water in the air, and no rain. It should be a great day.
So the first kick of the game going downfield from Noel Goldthorpe. Running it back is Paul Stellardi, the Auckland winger, who's put the ground just inside his own 22. Outside the 20 comes the other winger, Sean Hoppy, and it's good to see Sean Hoppy back inside the Auckland lineup. First penalty, now going the way of Auckland. Just trying to get the player, turn the player onto his back, and the play the ball, ruled against by the referee Kelvin Jeffs.
Yeah, we see it here. They're just taking far too long to get off the tackle player. Of course, this is one of the areas that Kelvin Jeff penalises a lot of sides on. He's very strict on holding down.
So Auckland take it inside Adelaide's territory.
13.
Big Joe Wagner playing the ball. This is Quinton Pongia. Pongia taken to ground by his fellow Kiwi and Tony Iro. 40 metres out from the line. Gene Namu just losing his footing slightly. Ridge turning it back to Stephen Kearney. Kearney, good go forward by Steve Kearney. Auckland and New Zealand, for that matter, are at their best when Steve Kearney is on his game. Namu almost sneaking through, got it to Matthew Ridge. Good pass. Ridge looking for support. No one there. He had to take the tackle, put over by Chris Quinn and Doherty, and the last is coming up now for Auckland. Stacey Jones using the kick, putting it across field. Up for it goes to Tupu. Now back to Tuamavave, going for the line himself. Caught on the last. The Adelaide defence holding on. Dragged to ground on the last, Tony Tuamavave, and the changeover, and so Adelaide get the ball just out from their own line. And Auckland just trying to play the ball down from Adelaide, and that will be one that Frank Endicott won't like, just allowing the pressure off immediately.
Yes, that was a dumb penalty. It was good play here too by the Auckland Warriors. A good high kick, received the ball back again, and unfortunately was taken to ground, but then they've given away a very stupid penalty. I mean, they've got the Rams in the defensive position, and of course giving away the penalty, they were able to pick up another 10 metres.
Which allows Adelaide to now get outside their own 30. Ball being played by Tony Iro. Love to have a good game against his fellow Kiwis. And another penalty will go Adelaide's way.
Well, he certainly started off in a flourish, the referee, hasn't he? But as long as he's consistent, I don't think anyone will complain too much.
Straight up the centre goes Andrew Hick. Good hard run by Hick. He's 32 metres out from the line. Goldthorpe bringing it into centre field. This is Doherty. Doherty held on to in the tackle of Tony Tutupu. Quinn showing it and giving it to Dion Bird. Bird gets up inside the 20, tackled by Kearney. Iro to Corvo, tried to give it away to Appo, it went behind him and back to Rod Jensen. Jensen only 2 metres out now from the line. Goldthorpe throwing it wide to Bird. Bird shooting it away to Skiffoliti. Skiffoliti trying to work towards the Auckland line. The defence holds on. The last is coming up on the short side once more. Danny Grimley, I think you'll find, has got over the line. The referee will probably go to the video.
blocked. Graham.
So Kelvin Jeffs not having a clear sight of that. Kerrod Walters saying to him it was a fair try, you don't have to go to the video.
He thinks it's okay. I was blocked
Put the
by
data Matthew Ridge. He was in his ear straight away. You'll look for any advantage Matthew Ridge.
Well, I just find it amazing how players, after a try has been scored like that, can go and here, as we see it here. I mean, we're not going to be able to see a rule. Oh, there, yes, we do. That's a definite try, but as the referee pointed out, he was blocked. I mean, why would you go and query the referee? You've got to try and stay on his good side. I mean, to me, you're only going to put yourself offside with the referee if you start querying those sort of decisions. It will be awarded a try, we can see that. But the referee was right, he was blocked. He's got the opportunity to go. He's been given the all clear.
So the first try goes to Adelaide, scored by their centre Danny Grimley. So a good start for the Rams, 4 points to 0 it is. And they are building up an imposing record in this ground. 56 points they've now scored here and haven't had any against them, and it was a good pass by Goldthorpe.
Well, it certainly was, and the thing about it too, John, was that there was a good quick play of the ball. I mean, they didn't have extra numbers on that blind side, and they virtually numbered up the Auckland side, but a good quick play of the ball, and they were able to keep going.
Yeah, all right,
And there's
mate.
Matthew Ridge now laying down the law.
Around the other side of that ruck, and they ran it straight at me.
Matthew
He's
Ridge,
not real happy about it.
who isn't happy at all, and quite rightly. The word is that the Auckland captain, in fact, maybe going back to Manly this year, that he may have just had enough of some of the attitude of a few of his Auckland teammates, and you would think, just judging by the reaction there of Matthew Ridge in the in goal, that he isn't too happy with a couple of the players in his side. They know that this is a game they can't afford to lose. This is the end of their season if they're beaten today.
Well, that's right, John. We mentioned that earlier on, but as far as Matthew Ridge is concerned, maybe that some of the players might be glad he leaves and goes back to Manly. He's been critical of a lot of the players over the past season.
Well, he's a winner, Matthew Ridge, and if they don't like that attitude, they have to have a look at themselves, I think. This is Graham Appo, the attempted conversion from 5 metres in from touch. From the western side of the ground, he struck that well. The crowd like it, the touch judges agree. Terrific start by Adelaide, they lead by 6-0.
Well, here it is again. Noel Goldthorpe, good pass out there to Denny Grimley. But as I pointed out earlier, it was the fact that it was a quick play of the ball, and they got the Auckland Warriors going backwards. They were backpedaling, and when you're only 8 metres off your line, it's very hard to stop them from scoring from there.
Can you give me a quick passage here, Chen?
Matt McEwen on the sideline. It will be interesting to know just how much talk there is amongst those Auckland players, just how desperate they are in this game.
It was something Frank Endicott said in the pre-match interviews, that they must win today. If they don't win today, it is all over, as you said before, John. I think the players are aware of it, but it seems Matthew Ridge more than anyone else. He's been critical of his fellow players in the press all week, and you just got to wonder what that does for team morale.
Iro getting his pass away to Appo, bounces away from one, can't get away from Sean Hoppy. Playing with great confidence, Graham Appo. A season that started so poorly for him at Canberra, where he was cut by the side, arrived here in Adelaide, in fact, was introduced to his new coach, Dean Lance, met him at the airport for the first time. They were on the same plane, both starting their careers in Adelaide on the same day. But he's blossomed under the coaching of Dean Lance and having a wonderful year.
Stay out, Stephen.
Walters a dummy half. Then the pass wide from Quinn and away to Goldthorpe. Kicks ahead for Grimley. Also chasing is Matt Daylight. Ridge will get it. Grimley holds on to him. Over the top comes Darren Doherty.
Bit of a concern for Adelaide. Graham Appo was hurt on the far side of the field.
It's just in the hands of the trainer, who's signalling to the touchline now. That looks as though Appo is going to go from the ground. That will be a blow to Adelaide, as this penalty goes the way of Auckland.
You were never square, no, you were never square.
Referee ruling that in the play the ball, well, there you can see it, the player was never square on. He must stand in front of the player, facing directly to the opposition goal line and not to the side.
Of course, the Auckland player did very well there. He got up very quickly and played the ball, and of course that gave Tony Iro no chance to line up in front of him. But John, Adelaide, I feel they've already shown their hand. They're starting to throw the ball wide, They take the ball up 2 or 3 tackles, but they're going to be 1 or 2 plays off the ruck and then throw the ball wide.
Kearney losing it. Skipperlitty picks it up. Back to Bird. Gives it away to Luke Williamson. He's the player who's come on to replace Appo, who incidentally is limping away from back towards the sideline. This is Alan Cairn, the keg with legs. The former Brisbane Bronco, played in a couple of premierships with Brisbane. Had an injury that's a season that's been interrupted by injury. I know he'd like to finish well.
Second now.
Williamson to play it. Goldthorpe. Then away to Hick. Gets to 11 metres out from the line. Taken to ground and a good tackle by Tuamavave. Walters out of dummy half. Away to Doherty, then to Williamson. Very close to the line. The referee just getting the call from his touch judge that in fact he'd lost the ball.
Come inside, Joe.
Williamson losing it, and this will be an Auckland loose head and feed.
Front row, stay up. Front row, stay up. Stay up, Andrew. Whoa,
This
no,
is
don't go.
very good sliding
Just
defence
have a
by the
listen.
Warriors. They
I want you to give me a tongue and let the ball come in.
see the Rams are able to get outside their man, but the Warriors kept sliding across to the right and were able to force an error.
Luke Williamson losing that ball. Freely tipped to be going to join Canberra next year. Penalty again going the way of Auckland.
There it is.
And the referee advancing the mark for some back chat.
Well, obviously they weren't listening to him, and they told him so. You'll never win by backtracking to a referee.
Back you go, Alan.
So what the two penalties, so the advancing of the mark does allow, is Auckland now to attack well inside Adelaide's territory. In fact, 35 metres out from the line. Joe Wagner.
Tony Oro, get your hands out.
Been one player who's played extremely well for Auckland. He's given them terrific go forward. That possession so much in favour of Adelaide early in this game. Stacey Jones. No one supporting him. He looked 3 times, I think, to get that pass away as he was being flung around. Swan inside the 30. Well tackled though by Williamson. Iru runs it out of dummy half. Kicked ahead by Gene Namu for Hoppy to chase. Bird has it in the in-goal. Slips away from Iru. Good run by Dion Bird. Eventually put to ground in the tackle of Swan, but gets to 10 metres out from his own line. Well done by the Adelaide fullback.
It certainly was. He returns the ball well, doesn't he? Very good stepper.
Grimley, who was the try scorer, shed the first tackle. That's a worrying sign for Auckland. They're just slipping off some vital tackles so early in the game. Walters works it down the blind side with Iro. Doherty has Hick running close to him. He runs into a tough tackle, though, put to ground brilliantly by Steve Kearney. Goldthorpe kicks ahead and will find touch. Smart kick by Noel Goldthorpe. I guess another one of the Adelaide players whose future is in doubt, Noel Goldthorpe. Ross thought he may have been going to link up with Tim Sheens, who played so well under in the Tri-Series last year in North Queensland, but hasn't decided yet. I think the Adelaide club, in fact, may be losing a little bit of patience with Noel Goldthorpe. A very talented player, of course.
Drop it in.
Fed by Stacey Jones. Tony Tutupu, one of the 2 Auckland players, in fact, having a birthday today. Tony Tutupu turning 29 today, and the Auckland hooker Sidiru celebrates his 27th birthday.
You remember when you were that old, John?
Oh, only a couple of years back, Bert. Remember it well.
It's a bit of a concern on the Adelaide bench. Mark Corvo has hurt a snap in his hamstring, the left hamstring. He's gone for the match. Now with Graham Appo, he hurt a snap in his knee. He already had it heavily strapped, his left knee, or strapped at least. And the physios are still working out whether he'll be back for the game.
Well, that is bad news as far as Adelaide is concerned. Stacey Jones using the kick ahead, then went through, or tried to go through a gap. There's no room to get through there. The referee says play on, and Goldthorpe will play. 32 out from Auckland's line, from Adelaide's line. Adelaide leading by 6 points to 0 over Auckland. Doherty. tackle by Iru. Can. Taken in a ball and all tackle by Tuamavavi.
Another new face on the field for the Rams. Andrew Pearce is on for Tony Iro.
Williamson. Skiffality into dummy half. Andrew Pearce just off the interchange bench and playing it on the last now for Adelaide. Inside the 20 goes Goldthorpe, gives it away to Bird, then to Williamson, tried to push it away to Jensen. No knock on, went backwards, play on, they're still on the last. Jensen's kicked too deep. So back out to the 20 as far as Auckland is concerned. That worry, Brett Kenny, for Adelaide will be if they've lost two key players, their prop Mark Corbo and of course Graham Appo. It puts so much extra pressure on their reserves, only still having two reserves, and one of those reserves, Alan Cairn, has been troubled in the last few weeks by a knee injury. He's making his comeback to football. You wouldn't expect him to be able to virtually get through the rest of the match.
Yeah, that's right, John. I mean, I think he will find it very tough to do that. And, of course, there's also Tony Iro has left the field, and they're not sure how he's going to be. So there's an experienced player that they'll lose.
But, Jones doing well.
No, Tony Iro's just interchanged. There's nothing seriously wrong with him. The Warriors have made their first change too. Joe Wagner's come off, and Guttenbeil's gone on in jumper 17.
Kick across field by Stacey Jones. Dion Bird can't get it. Picked up by Auckland. Kicked again by Auckland on the last, and will go over the dead ball line, back out to the 20 for the restart.
Well, John, looking at that bit of play there, I mean, you look at the Auckland side, you would not think that they've got as much experience in the side. You see here, the ball had gone high, they knocked it back. It was a very poor kick. There was no chases, really. I mean, these guys were just dawdling through. Their intensity has just got to lift another 15-20%.
Doherty bringing it down the short side for the Rams, almost up to halfway. Called on to play it. Alan Wheeland. Tackled in centre field, having just come off the interchange bench for the Rams. Goldthorpe pushing it wide to Skiffality, calling Williamson back on the inside, then runs himself, taken to the tackle of Shane Endicott. Goldthorpe using the little grubber, putting it in behind the line, or attempting to.
You're always in front of me. You're always in front of me. Have a look for me.
Logan Swan then ruled by referee Kelvin Jeffs to have been offside.
He's got to look for me. No, it wasn't.
Now who kicks for the Rams with Graham Appo off? Another problem.
The Rams, they were very fortunate there because that was a very poor kick by Noel Goldthorpe. I mean, there was nothing in that.
I don't need to hear now.
As the referee ruled, the Auckland player was offside.
I'll take it on board.
It's unusual for Matthew Ridge to be questioning the referee's decision.
Stephen, taken back about a minute.
That was a little fortunate as far as Adelaide were concerned, because you're right, Brett, it was a poor kick by Noel Goldthorpe. He was attempting to use the little grubber to put it in behind the line, just didn't come off for him, but in the long run they get the penalty. And so Luke Williamson, who is a recognised goal kicker, has done most of the kicking for the Adelaide Rams before the arrival to the club of Graham Appo, has this shot from some 32 metres out and pretty much in front.
And of course that answers Matt McEwen's question.
Just wondering what it does to disrupt the side, though. It seems to be going so well in the last couple of weeks.
Stay behind it.
Well, Matt, I think too they'll miss Graham Appo for his attacking ability. You know, they seem to be throwing the ball wide very early, and obviously that was when he, you know, to use Graham Appo, because when he's not there, they're going to miss his attacking ability. That's for sure.
Kick on its way by Williamson. Successful. Adelaide away to a handy lead of 8-0. Just gives them that little buffer zone, even though it's early days yet. But 8-0 puts the pressure right back onto Auckland.
Yeah, mate, he was 3 metres offside, Stephen.
Obviously, the Auckland players still having a couple of words to Kelvin Jeffs as to why that penalty was given.
I think, John, instead of asking the referee why penalties have been given, they should be looking at themselves and saying, well, why are we giving these penalties away? I mean, they've just got to pick up their intensity, as I said earlier. they're not chasing. Their defence is okay, but it's not devastating. I mean, they've got to tackle a lot harder and a lot tougher.
Sorry, mate.
Can brings it outside his own 30. Tackled by Brady Malem, who's now come off the interchange bench wearing the 15 jumper for Auckland.
Tackle 4, release!
4 tackles gone, and just look at that possession rate. 62 against 38% in favour of Adelaide. So Auckland have just had to do all of the tackling so far in this game, and again Noel Goldthorpe driving it deep inside Auckland's territory and finds touch just a couple of metres from the line. So the other statistic you have to bear in mind on that is that not only is the possession rate so heavily involved, so heavily in favour of Adelaide, but when Auckland have had it, so often they're doing what they're going to have to do now, bring it out from their own line.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the Rams are playing a very good style and a very good pattern, and they're working their way into the danger zone for Auckland, putting in a good kick, as we've just seen, and keeping the pressure on the Warriors, and they've had to work it out. They've had to do a lot of defence. They're getting very tired after doing all that tackling, and their forwards aren't coming onto the ball.
This is Swan, still inside his own 20. Penalty Auckland. As the tackle count shows from that possession, Auckland having to do so much more tackling.
Actually, what they're doing, they're coming up inside the 10. That's the third one now, all right? So I'll let you take it on board. I'm going to start wearing thinner patience, okay? And I'm going to have to deal with it far stronger. So you go back, you tell him to get up off the man playing the ball because you're trying to slow it down, all right?
Kelvin Jeffs is an angry little ant at the moment. As he said, his patience is wearing very thin, and someone is headed for the sin bin very shortly.
Well, John, it is a favourite penalty of his, really. 38% of his penalties are for holding down. So, but as I said, he's been consistent. He started early in the game, and the players still persist on holding down. He's going to keep penalising.
Brady Malem able to push that pass away to keep the movement alive, but then the movement breaks down completely. The ball put to ground by Guttenbeil, and a knock on with an Adelaide free.
Well, this is another one of the Warriors' problems. I mean, they haven't had that much possession, and when they do, they're not been able to hold it long enough to create any problems for the Rams' defence. They've got an interesting move here. John, all the backs are standing directly behind the scrum.
That's an amazing formation by Adelaide. Look at them. All virtually stood in one line and almost went off. Well, I've never seen that before. They all stood behind the scrum pretty much in a straight line. The Auckland defence was spread as normal. They didn't know what they were going to do.
It's like a semicircle you used to have at Scouts.
I was in the Girl Guides.
So Adelaide bring it just outside the 20 once more. Now they start to attack Chris Quinn. Quinn slipping through tackles, 15 up. Walters away to Goldthorpe. Goldthorpe turns it inside to Alan Whelan. Whelan 5 metres from the line. Last coming up now for Adelaide. Away from Walters, they push it out onto the left-hand side. The little kick which has gone to ground, picked up by Jensen. They're still on the last. Jensen struggling free, looking to unload back to Whelan. Referee will blow it up.
And Graham Appo is back on the field. He's got his knee restrapped, been running up and down the sideline. They think he's got just a sprain of the knee, although he's not running very freely, but at least he's out there for Adelaide.
Thanks, Matt. We'll keep a close eye on Graham Appo. So Auckland again bringing it out from what's termed their own red zone, now getting it outside the 30. Namu able to give his pass away to a bullocking Joe Wagner, but dragged to ground by Chris Quinn. That is a mismatch. Chris Quinn against Wagner, but it was a good one-on-one tackle.
Roll away!
Namu under pressure, good chase by Adelaide, gets his kick away, but under pressure he could do nothing but send it straight to Dion Bird. Just playing with a much better intensity, Adelaide. Auckland, well, they're just such an enigma, Auckland. When they're hot, they're hot. When they're cold, they're absolutely frigid.
Well, John, I think that it's going to be one of those cold days. They haven't started. Their intensity is down. They've got to lift this.
Kerrod Walters. Walters running and looking for support and finds Appo. Appo busting back through the middle. Has he got the pace to keep going? Has he won? The try-scoring machine of the Adelaide Rams, Graham Appo, scores the try. Adelaide lead by 12 points to 0, kick to come, and they still haven't had a point scored against them at Hindmarsh Stadium.
Well, geez, I tell you what, John, I'd hate to see how quick Graham Appo can run if he hasn't got his knee strapped. But that was a very good try by the Adelaide Rams. Kerrod Walters is renowned for running from dummy half, straight up the middle, found a big yawning gap, threw the ball out to Graham Appo, did very well here, turned Matthew Ridge inside out, went over for a great try for the Adelaide Rams.
Gee, it's a super ball here from Kerrod Walters.
They just opened up in the middle, didn't they? He just took in and ducked in behind the play of the ball area. Got the pass out to Graham Appo and went over for a very good try.
Dean Lance looking as if he's got the worries of the world on his shoulders. You wouldn't think he's a coach leading 12-0 and possibly 14-0 in just a moment.
I was about to say that, John. As soon as the try was scored, he called the trainer over and gave him an absolute blast. I think they were 12-0 down.
They're all alike, coaches.
Yeah, they're all the same. I mean, you just can't please them, can you?
But he is an excellent coach, Dean Lance, and I don't just say that because the score happens to be 12-0 at the moment. It's always been my opinion. He's a very, very thorough mentor.
Well, he's had some good breeding, hasn't he? He's played under some great coaches.
And was such a hard player himself. He gave no quarter, and he certainly asked for none.
Well, you're always looking for him on the field.
Graham Appo's kick makes it 14-0, and this season, 1998, is very quickly slipping away from the Auckland Warriors. They must win this afternoon. They're now 14 behind. Here's Kerrod Walters. Now, watch when the ball goes out to Appo. Just watch the Auckland defence. They were standing there pretty much mesmerised. They didn't know what he was going to do. They didn't move up to get him. In fact, they just stood, and it was easy for him to wrong-foot them.
Yeah, John, as I was saying, their intensity is very poor, and you know, Kerrod Walters, as we see there, in his 11th season of first-grade football, everyone knows Kerrod Walters loves to run from dummy half. He was able to do that and found a yawning gap there, and the intensity of the Warriors is way down.
Well, you know that Frank Endicott, in the game plan for Auckland, would have emphasised the fact Kerrod Walters, throughout his career, has always run from dummy half. Today will be no different. Your marker defence must be wide awake for the full 80 minutes.
Yeah, oh, that's right. That's one of the things. Neither marker moved. He was able to run around behind them and duck in directly behind the play of the ball area. And they've gone away for a very good try.
Another good kick by Goldthorpe, putting it down between Paul Stellati and Matthew Ridge. So both of them had to run back to pick it up. When Ridge runs the ball back, he gets to his own 20 before he stopped. They have to be the side that scores next, Auckland. Iru in a dummy half. Iru able just to give his short pass away, but the Adelaide defence moving up very quickly.
But John, when you look at the Warriors, they're all bunched up. They're not spreading out. They don't look like they've got any work into any pattern.
Well, will someone go to the sin bin?
Get up off the man playing the ball for me.
Chris Quinn it is. Chris Quinn to the sin bin. Well, they can't say they weren't warned. He told Kerrod Walters the last time for holding down, I'm losing my patience. I'll have to do something about it. They've held down again immediately. Chris Quinn to the bin. They can't complain at all.
Well, they certainly can't, and as we've said all along, that he has been consistent, the referee. He's had all the players all the time about holding down, and when they do, he penalises them. And his patience just ran out. Maybe this is an opportunity.
Okay.
Well, this ball touched, and so from a penalty, it gives Auckland the feed to the scrum. Adelaide a man short for the next 10 minutes. Auckland really must score and do it immediately. Nama using just a little run around with Paul Stellati. Swan. Taken to ground by Pearce. On the Adelaide 30. Namu to Jones. Switched inside to Guttenbeil. Read well though by the defence, put over by Hick. Matthew Ridge dummies, runs himself. Stands and unloads back to Stacey Jones. Jones going into a half gap. It closed on him from Appo. Good tackle. Iru trying to work his way through the middle. No support for him. Last tackle coming up for Auckland. Sidiru just told to stay down by the referee while the Auckland trainer comes on to attend to him.
And Matthew Ridge has spotted Graham Appo in the background limping as well. And he's calling for the ball to go that side. Graham Appo's trying to leave the field, but he's kept on being told to stay on the field right now.
In fact, as you speak, Matt McEwen, the trainer, is over with Graham Appo, signalling for him to go off. So Appo has once more gone from the field. Luke Williamson will come back on.
He's going to go all the way off. I will blow the whistle to start play.
So Sidiru, the birthday boy, or one of the two birthday boys in the Auckland side. Not a happy birthday for him at the moment. His side down by 14-0, and he carried from Hindmarsh Stadium.
We'll wait till he goes off. Andrew Hick, close up.
So they're on the last tackle now, Auckland.
Wait, stand back.
9 metres out from the line. Stacey Jones runs into dummy half. Call for by Namu. He'll kick out towards Jensen's wing. Hoppy goes forward as well. Picked up immediately though by Auckland, then to touch. Shane Endicott trying to get the ball down in the corner. Touch judge puts his flag up, pushed into touch.
Well, it was a set move there. And unfortunately for Rod Jensen, he wasn't able to control the ball, but then, of course, you would have thought Auckland could have come up with a try and pushed into touch. I mean, this has been the story of their day, I think. As you mentioned, it's just going to be a cold day for Auckland.
One of the things there, of course, being a close call, some people may wonder, in fact, why the referee wouldn't have called for the video, but he didn't have any option there. The touch judge had put his flag up to say that the player had gone into touch before grounding the ball, so the referee has to go with his touch judge's call.
Yeah, that's right. He can't sort of overrule the touch judge's call.
So a let-off as far as Adelaide are concerned. Remembering, of course, that Adelaide are playing a man short at the moment, so what they'll want to do is just use up their full set of 6 tackles, have the ball in their possession for as much time as possible while they have a man in the bin. Andrew Hick, a few metres short of halfway. In the arms of Goldthorpe, runs it to the line, then gives it away to Wairowan and to Grimley. Almost through a gap. Good cover coming from Quinton Pongia. Goldthorpe again, will put up the high kick, out towards short Hoppy, not under any pressure, the Kiwi test winger, runs it back well to Hoppy, brings it outside his 20, then is eventually taken to ground by Dean Skiffle. So Auckland struggling their way through, Nigel Wagenaar to play it.
John, I think Auckland really, they keep coming to the open, so they've got to look at a blindside play. I mean, the Rams are down one player, and Auckland just keep taking it the same way all the time, and it gives the Rams defence plenty of time to adjust.
Well, they're actually down 2. There's a player in back play that's out cold from the tackle.
That will be Darren Doherty, I think, who the trainer is calling for attention and asking the referee to stop the game.
Well, that was his first movement then, John. He'd been absolutely out cold. And that couples with the news that Graham Appo has gone into the rooms to be checked by the doctor, but they're not likely to risk him. They're running thin on the ground now, the Rams.
Yeah, they certainly are starting to run thin with Darren Doherty. Just now getting to his feet, so the mini ambulance may not be required.
Looks like he may have copped a forearm to the side of the jaw there.
An accidental one from Big Joe Wagenaar, but, well, I'd hate to run into any part of Joe Wagenaar. He is such a strong man.
But, hopefully they'll see him back.
So what can Auckland do now? Endicott giving it back to Ridge. They're going backwards at the moment. Ridge tries to At least go forwards a few metres. Namu trying to turn Jensen around. That's landed just in the field of play. Only by a couple of centimetres it finds play. The mark indicated by the touch judge, Phil Cooley.
Of course, John, the Rams will be happy with that. It wastes a bit more time, and
Stephen,
called.
and Alan Can, how'd you come?
So the referee having just spotted an incident from Kearney and Can.
We're going to play football now. All right, we're all on here. All right, play football. Kerry, you're going all right.
Isn't it nice of the referee let the players know how they're playing? And yet, as soon as they say to the referee, I don't think you're doing a good job, they penalise them.
Well, I suppose the referee figures they let him know how he's going the whole game. He can reciprocate.
It's a strange sight over there on the Adelaide bench. There's only one player, and that's Darren Doherty. He's not going to go out for a little while. There's not another player. There's plenty of officials sitting in there.
They might have to throw a jumper on, surely.
Well, that 14-point lead, they might need that because replacements, the injuries they've had, is going to certainly go against them later in the game. Iro getting a pass away. It went backwards. It's been dived on by Kerrod Walters. Now to Can. Can runs it to the line, held on to in the tackle of Endicott. Last is coming up for Adelaide. They're 32 metres out from the line. The crowd yelling for the Auckland players to be put back onside. This is Bird, dummies away through Kearney, then turned back on the inside, but picked up by Nigel Wagner. Auckland ball on their own 20.
Roll away!
Well, they chanced their arm then, the Rams, but that unfortunately didn't pay off for them.
Yep.
You see here,
Okay. Gotcha.
pass back inside by Alan Whelan, picked up by Nigel Wagner.
Get your tackles down.
For the first time, Joe Nolavo was on the field for the Warriors today.
Kearney making a half break and then able to get it away to Stacey Jones. Claps on the speed, but coming across in cover as the fullback Bird to pull him to ground. 40 metres out from the line, make that 30 now, and Auckland desperate to score. They'd love to score in this set of 6, down by 14-0. Ridge gives his pass away to Namu. Namu with a high kick, it's coming down just in the field of play. Knocked over the dead ball line though by Adelaide. Matthew Daylight couldn't take it on the full in the in goal, so it forces a goal line dropout. Now Auckland must capitalise on this chance.
Well, this is the opportunity they've been looking for. It was a very good kick. I felt they probably should have run the ball a little more. They don't seem to have enough confidence in their ability to attack the Rams' defence. You see the kick here, went very high. Well, he should have taken that ball then, Matthew Daylight.
But how close is that barrier after the dead ball line?
Yeah, and it's very bright too, so it's not as if you're not going to be able to see it. You'll see it out of the corner of your eye, which will definitely take your view off the ball.
Now the referee just going to hold up play.
Been going down.
Alan Can called
The tackle
across.
was too high, right? Okay.
It was this high.
No, don't worry about it. It was still too high. Get your tackles down for me, all right? I've been having words with him on the run, all right? Get your tackles down.
High tackle against Alan Can. For Alan Can to make a high tackle, he would have to go high. He's not the tallest of blokes. Let's watch it again on Brady Malem.
I liked Alan Can's reply to it. He said, well, he was only a little bloke. He's not much taller than Alan Can.
Pongia slipping his pass away to Nullivar. 10 metres out, Joe Nullivar in centre field. Now to Malem. Then from Endicott, pushing it wide to Stacey Jones behind the line. Back inside to Endicott. Still 10 metres out from the line and eventually knocked to ground by Can.
That was a try butcher. They were 2-on-1 outside.
Ridge a dummy half to Kearney. Kearney getting his pass. Then on to Guttenbeil. Still 9 metres out from the line. Jones works it back to the left-hand side, through Namu, then to Ridge. Adelaide came up out of the line, left an opening, they couldn't capitalise. Pushed away once more to Stephen Kearney. They virtually got a score here, Auckland. 4 tackles gone, they're still 11 metres out.
This is great scrambling defence by the Rams.
Away from Endicott. then away to Stacey Jones. Jones on to Pongi, who was grabbed the moment he had the ball, still pushed backwards. This is the last now coming up.
Must go right.
Remembering they've been defending a man short with a player in the sin bin, Stephen Kearney, taken ball and all by Danny Grimley on the last. Terrific defence by Adelaide. I know that they may have butchered things, Auckland, but take nothing away from Adelaide. That defence was sensational.
Yeah, John, it was great scrambling defence, but gee, you know, the Warriors had opportunity after opportunity, and I think they're playing a side one man down, and they're just playing it all wrong. Instead of just taking the ball up and taking it up and then looking to throw it wide, they're throwing it wide at all occasions. It's just making it easier for the Rams defence.
Alan Whelan. Back inside Auckland territory by 15 metres.
Darian Doherty is back on the field.
Iro, long pass, it's going to be intercepted. Out wide though by Tutupu, he'll start to run. Being chased by the defence, they won't get him, he'll go in and score. In fact, it'll be Nigel Vaganar who'll take the intercept, and Nigel Vaganar running and will score underneath the post. That's the one that Auckland wanted. Well, the luck hasn't gone their way so far, Auckland, and they've probably been their own worst enemies, but they've been able to turn around with a bit of fortune eventually going their way.
Yes, and it wasn't, it was Tony Iro who threw the pass, and it wasn't the place to be throwing a pass like that. The Warriors defence had come up, and they're virtually standing in line. As we see it here, there he is out there. I mean, there was no way in the world he was going to get the ball past him. That was a simple intercept. And of course, he had the pace, he was looking back. Maybe he thought he was offside. He seemed to be looking back there, Vangana, looking to see the referee was going to penalise him. Was able to run away and score a very good try, put Auckland back into this game.
Nigel Vaganar scoring the try underneath the post. So the first points that the Adelaide Rams have had scored against them here at Hindmarsh Stadium, as the try converted from in front by Matthew Ridge. They had scored, what, 56 unanswered points before Auckland score a try from an intercept by Nigel Vaganar, converted by captain Matthew Ridge. 14 points to 6 it is.
We'll just see now whether this may have sparked the Warriors. This is what they possibly needed, was to come up with a try.
But the Rams are back to 13 now. Chris Quinn's back on the field.
So Chris Quinn rejoining the fray. And the restart taken by Adelaide. Auckland, just a couple of minutes remaining until half-time. Would love to just put some more points on before the break. Nullivar. Almost out to his own 30. Endicott able just to shoot his pass away to Guttenbeil. Tackle 10 short of halfway. Namu running it to Matthew Ridge. Saw a gap. Williamson read it well though to make the tackle. Steve Kearney. Kearney through a gap. Good run by Kearney, then got away from another and able to unload his pass back to Stacey Jones. Jones running and kicks ahead for Hoppy to chase. Ball will go over the touchline though. Ball having gone into touch on the full.
I'll tell you, I don't know, John, I think the opportunity was there. Look, he's got two players on his outside and he put the kick in. All he had to do, all they needed was hands. Just quick passing, and they possibly would have come up with a try. They just seemed to be taking the wrong option at the wrong time.
So the ball landing on that's Alan Whelan, incidentally. Here's the player injured for Adelaide. Ball just landing on the touchline, bringing up some of the chalk. Then it was out on the full. So brought back for the scrum as Whelan just makes his way to the bench.
Yeah, he just got one of Steve Kearney's elbows into his neck, it looked like.
Daylight.
Oh,
Terrific tackle though by Joe Wagner. Adelaide attacking once more. Bird working on the short side, back to Daylight. He's inside Auckland territory by a few metres. Now to Doherty, recovered from that knock, back into the fray and charges at 10 inside Auckland's half. Kerrod Walters. Walters again running out of dummy half, and it took a desperation tackle by Matthew Ridge to pull him to ground. Goldthorpe inside to Hick. Long pass almost intercepted once more by Auckland. In fact, ball going to be kicked ahead once more by Wagner. So the tackle count restarts for Adelaide. Chris Quinn running it across field, linking up with support. 30 metres out from the line, that's where the ball is played by Williamson, then to Quinn down the short side, back inside to Rod Jensen. 18 metres out, Jensen. From Goldthorpe. Noel Goldthorpe kicking right on half-time. Stellati sets himself, takes it well above the pack ball, Stellati. Half-time here at Hindmarsh Stadium. And Adelaide lead Auckland at half-time by 14 points to 6. Frank Endicott, well, he's just about stripped the paint off the walls, I would think. He'll be telling the players, his players at half-time, this is a game you have to win and you have to lift your game much better in the second half. Half-time, Adelaide 14, Auckland 6 here in Adelaide. So Luke Williamson takes the restart for Adelaide. 40 minutes. That could make or break the season as far as Auckland is concerned. If they don't win here this afternoon, then it's virtually an impossibility for them to sneak into the 10.
Tackle 2, roll away!
Tuamavavi tackle just outside his own 30. Wagner, Joe Wagner. 10 short of halfway put to ground. Penalty against Danny Grimley. Didn't clear the tackled player to the liking of Kelvin Jeffs. In fact, it's interesting to look at Kelvin Jeffs throughout 1998, the breakdown of the penalties he's given, and holding down certainly is far and away in front.
It's a pet favourite of his, isn't it? But we just saw there, and he actually mentioned it to Tony Tuamavavi about holding the tackle up, and that's exactly what happened. We saw the hands in the tackle there, and so he may start looking the other way and penalising the man with the ball.
Tony Tutupu, 11 metres out from the Adelaide line. Can they score now, Auckland, early in the second half? That would be the confidence booster they need. This man trying to break the line. Here's Stephen Carney, the ball going to be ripped out though. Two into the tackle as the ball is ripped out.
Yes,
Noel
Goldthorpe there we saw. I mean, that is just really, it is silly play from first grade footballers to be putting their hands anywhere near the ball in the modern day game. I mean, that the referee has no other option but to penalise players, even if the player didn't reef the ball away. If his hand's there, the referee can't see it, he's got no option but to penalise it.
Well, a gift 2 points coming up for the Auckland Warriors captain, Matthew Ridge.
Back 10 for me. Back 10. Keep going for me.
Matthew Ridge putting over the 2 points, and so Auckland back within a converted try as we take you sideline to find out what happened in the rooms at half-time. Assistant coach to Dean Lance at Adelaide is Peter Parr. Peter, what did Dean have to say?
Oh, look, he's quite happy with the way we're going. Very pleased with our defensive effort. They've only scored the 1 try off the intercept, and we're quite happy with the way we're going. We're down to 15. Corvo and Appo both won't be back, so that's a disappointment for us. But you know, if we can keep defending the way we are, we think we'll go all right.
And Peter, the Rams seem to be throwing the ball 2 or 3 passes wide and attacking the edge of the ruck. Has that been talked about during the week?
Oh yeah, but I think we haven't been seen a lot on TV or that, and we've been playing like that for the last month. We've been trying to get the ball out to the fringes and use the football a little bit. So that's just the way we've been trying to play the football game, not just today.
Thanks, Peter. Leave it there. Peter Parr, the assistant coach to Dean Lance. This penalty will go against Auckland, the ball having been pulled free. Adelaide come up with the penalty, and Kerrod Walters says, I'll try and get that 2 points deficit back again. So Luke Williamson will come across to have the shot at goal.
Well, obviously, you could see they were all over the man trying to play the ball, made it very difficult there. The referee had no option but to give the penalty.
No. Hold it down. Move back on the line for me.
So Luke Williamson successful with his one shot at goal today.
Drag yourselves back. Come on. Drag yourself back.
And this kick some 11, 12 metres to the right-hand side of the upright, and as you can see, just outside the 20.
You two blokes will have to help me out behind the post this time. I've got the sun right in my eyes. Stay behind it.
This kick shouldn't be too difficult kick for Williamson, who is the most accomplished kicker, but what breeze there is here today at Hindmarsh Stadium, pretty much blowing straight down the ground into the face of Williamson. This to increase the deficit to more, and they convert a try, and he does so. So it's back out again to 8 points in favour of the Rams. Adelaide 16, Auckland 8 to the sideline, and Trevor Clark from the Auckland Warriors. Trevor, what did Frank Endicott say to the team during the break? Can you hear us, Trevor? Just a communication problem with Trevor Clark there, who's the football manager for the Warriors. We'll get back to him in a moment. Restart taken by Auckland. Hick getting it to his 20. Now to Doherty. Suffered a bad knock in the first half, but from Adelaide's point of view, the good news was that he recovered quickly because they need him with the couple of players, Corbo and Appo, who won't be back. Alan Can to play it. Walters gives it on the short side to Dion Bird. Well tackled by Tony Tuamavave. Again, Walters down the blind side. Once more to Bird. Then given back inside again to Chris Quinn. Quinn again works down the short side. Tackle made on him by G. Namu. On the last now, Adelaide. They start to run it across field to Noel Goldthorpe. Goldthorpe will kick down to Stellati, who takes it just inside his own 20. Trevor Clark can hear us now. Trevor, the football manager from the Auckland Warriors, what were the instructions from Frank Endicott to the side of the break?
Mate, just not to panic and just control the ball a bit better. We haven't had a lot of possession and we need to get some field position down on their 20.
Trevor, he must have been disappointed with the fact that Adelaide had 12 men and the Warriors were unable to come up with a try except for and they had to get an intercept to finally get one, and they had a lot of opportunities which they blew in that first half.
Well, yeah, you could say that, but obviously we had a good try disallowed. Well, it wasn't even called actually, but yeah, we've just got to retain the ball a bit better, get a better field position because we're struggling to get down there. So if we can get that in the second half and control the set plays, we'll be in with the show.
That one you're referring to was when the touch judge ruled Shane Endicott had gone into touch?
That's right, but prior to that there was also a knock-on by an Adelaide player, which wasn't called earlier. So, you know, you just got to take the good with the bad, I guess. So we've just got to maintain a ball position that's a lot higher than what it has been.
Thanks, Trevor. Thanks for speaking with us. Good luck in the second half.
Not a problem, thanks.
Trevor Clark, who's the football manager for the Auckland Warriors. So Adelaide having restarted with a tap at the 20 from that kick going over the dead ball line from Auckland. On the fourth tackle, Kerrod Walters again scampers out of dummy half, makes an easy 10 metres and then picks up his former Brisbane Bronco teammate in Alan Can. Goldthorpe on the blind side. Bad kick by Goldthorpe, out on the full. So the changeover. Auckland to play this ball 30 metres out from their own line.
John, one thing that Adelaide didn't say that they actually complained about at half-time. They went into the referee's room. They're really concerned about the lifting elbows from the Auckland side. And, well, you saw the amount of injuries they've had in the first half, and they were concerned about having them in the second. They've asked the referee to keep a close eye on it.
Matt McEwen, who was it that made that request to the referee?
Peter Parr.
That's interesting. I didn't think clubs were allowed to talk to the referee at half-time over any issue. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, it wasn't actually Kelvin Jess. It was a representative of the referee, and he was just saying, look, we're getting a lot of guys seriously injured here, and we're concerned it might have head injuries.
Interesting one. Thanks, Matt McEwen. Sean Hoppy keeping this ball alive, kicked inside, picked up by Goldthorpe. This is Bird trying to outstrip Tuamavave. Endicott coming across as well, eventually makes the tackle. Jensen gets to 15 from halfway. Chris Quinn running to the line. Can't get past the defence though. Doherty taken by Tuamavave. His pass back to Can. Then to Williamson. Looking to get inside the tackle of Gene Namu. Wrapped up in the defence of Steve Kerner. Pass going loose. Picked up for Auckland by Sean Hoppy.
Well, John, an area that Auckland really have to look at is their marker defence. I mean, the Warriors...
Stacey Jones getting through a gap. Jones trying to wrong foot them. Bird chasing, gets his pass back on the inside to Tupu to play the ball. 35 metres out. This will be a penalty. Someone may go to the sin bin here as well. No, referee says simply just play on as they take the quick tap.
Okay.
Jones going to the short side. Auckland working up to the 20 to Tupu standing, can't get his pass away.
Come back! Hold!
Namu to Pongia, that pass was forward to Wagner, he's going to score. Oh gee, there's got to be a doubt about that. That looked definitely forward, that pass. The referee will give a fair try. This could be the crucial break that Auckland need. That pass for mine looked definitely forward.
Well, I've got to agree with you there, John, and I think a lot of the Adelaide players feel the same way. They're looking back, Tony Oro especially was looking back at the referee, complaining about that pass. Wasn't a bad set play by the Warriors.
Yeah, you've got a good advantage out of this one. Let's go with it, eh?
The discussion there was about Matthew Ridge actually having a bit of a set to with Alan Can before. He's a little bit underweighted, but Matthew Ridge held his own.
Well, let's watch this pass. Now, oh,
That wasn't a metre forward, I'm not
well,
here.
maybe that is the pass, a forward pass, which is going to get Auckland into the semis this year. The crowd hooting, they know it was forward. Joe Wagner, the try scorer. Referee Kelvin Jeffs didn't blink an eyelid at it. He thought it was fair. Underneath the post, converted by Matthew Ridge. 16-14 it is in favour of Adelaide.
Well, John, I guess you can say that you're going to cop some bad decisions and you're going to get some good decisions. And fortunately for the Warriors, they got a good one.
Well, if at the break we just heard from Trevor Clark saying that they believe they'd had a fair try disallowed in the first half, now it's evened up.
It's evened itself up.
Well, it might be even, but I tell you what, I wouldn't like to be Kelvin just trying to get out of Adelaide tonight. The crowd here are calling out killing.
Penalty going to Auckland, and listen to the crowd. Dean Skiffolitti having plenty to say to the referee.
Well, John, I think Kerrick Walters has to get hold of his players and have a bit of a word to them. I think Dean Skiffolitti, it's the second time he's been penalised another 10 metres for back-taking to the referee, so they've really got to do something. They're getting frustrated. The captain's going to have to take a bit of control here.
So Auckland again can attack up almost to the 20. Push back to Endicott, gives it away to Malem. Brady Malem taken and knocked to ground, and a good covering tackle from Pearce. Ball to be played by Goodenville. Endicott a dummy half. Switch to Namu inside to Pongia. 15 metres out from the line, put over by Skiffolitti. Stephen Kearney. Kearney stepping off the left foot. Back for Endicott, it was intended for him. He couldn't get it. It's going to be dived on by Adelaide. The player underneath that is Pearce. Now Doherty bringing it out from his own 10. One thing we noticed with the game both on last Friday night in Melbourne and today here in Adelaide, two strongholds of Australian football, that the crowds certainly may not know as much about rugby league as they do in places such as Queensland and New South Wales, but they sure get involved.
Well, they do get very enthusiastic, and I just think they like the contact. I mean, we know in the AFL there's not a lot of body contact, and I think the people of Adelaide and especially Melbourne like the contact of rugby league. As you see another break.
Quinn breaking through, caught from behind by Endicott. Last coming up now for Adelaide. They're 25 out from the line. Kerrod Walters runs from dummy half to Goldthorpe. Goldthorpe with a good little kick. It'll go into touch just 2 metres out from the line.
They might like the contact, but I love to hate the ref. It's unbelievable.
Well, that probably is also, I was going to say it's an AFL trait. I think it's just a trait of any football, isn't it?
See, that's a very good break made by Chris Quinn there. Good cover and defence for Shane Endicott, because they ran the ball again on the blind side. A little kick put through by Noel Goldthorpe. Unfortunately for the Rams, a little bit too far. Trickled over the sideline. I think, John, a lot of times the Rams have got to look to run the ball more so than putting the little kick through. I think they've got to give themselves a chance.
16-14 in favour of Adelaide. Adelaide can't make the semi-finals. A lot of the players, though, playing for their futures. Auckland know that they're playing for their season.
That was a point that Frank Endicott made at half-time as well. It said, making the guys realise that this is your grand final now. You lose it, you're gone.
Brady Malem to play the ball. In the hands now of Namu, wide to Kearney. Steve Kearney gets through, almost through the gap. At the last moment it closed on him and dragged to ground by Iro. Namu, kicking from deep. Bird with a run back almost to his own try line. Chase has come down to get him and he'll be put to ground by Nigel Varga. Goldthorpe. Then pushing it wide to Daylight. Pass that Chris Quinn didn't expect. Hit him on the shoulder. Luckily for him, there wasn't an Auckland player there to pick it up. Struggling to get outside their own 20. Just on the 20-metre mark. Tough tackle made by Varganar on Pearce. Doherty put to ground in another solid tackle. Leading the way for them was Stephen Kearney. They just seem to have lifted their intensity somewhat, Auckland. They realise now they're right back into this game. And the chance to save season 1998 as Goldthorpe kicks. Ridge runs back outside his own 30. Kerrod Walters leads the chase and makes a good tackle. Penalty to Auckland. And the crowd are giving referee Kelvin Jeffs plenty. Offside the ruling against Kerrod Walters. Never having got back onside after he made that chase and tackle was the ruling by Jeffs. Referee saying he hadn't gone back 10 at any stage. So Auckland again get up almost to the 20. Joe Varga. Malem. Back to Namu, then to Jones. Jones switching his pass back on the inside. The defence, though, of Adelaide reading it well. Pass to absolutely nobody. Auckland, though, able to dive on it. Guttenbeil coming up with it. From Jones, away to the danger man, Kearney, and does well once more to stand and unload, but a penalty for a Shepherd. Obstruction, or as it's commonly called, the Shepherd, the ruling, just running in behind his own player, who was Joe Nullivar, obstructing the Adelaide defence. Just a penalty that will relieve some of the pressure for Adelaide.
John, I think a problem for the Warriors is they're getting into a good attacking position. They're reaching the 20-metre area of the Adelaide Rams, but then once they get in there, they seem to get lost. There's players running in all different directions. No one seems to know which way the ball's got to go. They just don't seem to have any set plan.
Pearce, almost to halfway. Hit by Nullivar. Alan Cam could have also perhaps been pinged for the same offence as Shepherd. Went very close to obstructing the defence. The referee let it go. And Kerrod Walters again makes that easy 10 metres from marker. Skiffaliti linking up with his support, Bird. The referee again ruling, as you heard, no Shepherd. The tackle was made by Tony Tutupu.
One to go! Gino!
Alan Whelan to play it.
The Rams have got to run this ball.
On the last, they're going to kick. Chris Quinn putting up the kick. No one wants to jump. Williamson came up with it, then dropped it. Auckland diving on it.
John, the Rams, they've really got to start to try something different. They've got to look to run the ball now. All the Warriors are doing is standing back, waiting for the kick, and they read that very well. Then they just let I think it was Quinn come up with the ball and just put him to the ground. They've really got to start to look to run the ball on the 6th play.
Stellati in from the wing to take one of the hit-ups. Brings it out to his own 20. 16-14 in favour of the Adelaide Rams over Auckland. Guttenbeil. Tackle by Skiffaliti. Namu. The long kick, but straight down to Dion Bird. Nigel Wagner leads the chase in to help him Nullivan. 10 inside their own half now, Adelaide. From daylight across field to Quinn. Quinn dummying to Grimley, then going himself. Couldn't fool Tony Tutupu. Hick. Almost to halfway. Guttenbeil makes the tackle on him. Walters runs to the short side, then brings it back to the open to link up with Can.
That's far! Get up!
4 tackles gone in this set for the Adelaide Rams. To Goldthorpe. Then away to Wairo. Wairo almost up to the 30. Now here comes the last again. Skiffaliti gives it back to Goldthorpe. Goes just a few metres and then kicks. Dropping back for it, Paul Stellati. Stellati trying to get around daylight, chases him from behind and puts Stellati to ground just outside the Auckland 20. Jones in centre field and keeping the ball alive. Back to Nullivar. Almost to halfway, Joe Nullivar.
The Rams are starting to fall off in their defence.
The middle goes Swan, remembering of course that Adelaide are 2 players down who won't be back, so perhaps a little bit of tiredness starting to set in, and that's where Auckland can capitalise.
Come on, Alan! Right back, Shipper!
4 tackles gone now for Auckland. Joe Wagner, a dummy half, to Jones, switched inside to Steve Kearney. Kearney gets inside the 20, hard bullocking run again by Kearney. Now the last coming up for the Warriors. To Stacey Jones. Turned inside to Namu. Namu runs it and then kicks. It'll be taken by Sean Hoppy. Knocked forward, rules the referee.
I tell you what, that looked like a try from here. You can get a job in New Zealand cricket team with a catch like this.
Well, knocked forward and then taken.
Yeah, I think
he may have lost
may
the ball.
see it here. I think he's actually grounded the ball short of the line and then was rolled over.
To there
you see there, well,
and there he's lost it.
He's lost it there, and it was short of the line. He was rolled over anyway.
Didn't control it.
But again, John, inside that 20 metres, on the last play there, they seemed to be lost again. No one seen it. It was turned back inside the Gene Namu, who then decided, well, he'll put the high kick up.
Here's Iro, quickly turning defence into attack for Adelaide. 5 tackles gone now for the Rams. They're 25 metres out from the line. They lead by 2, Adelaide. Goldthorpe sets himself for the high kick towards Stellati's wing. Adelaide go for it. It'll come down the Rams' way. Kicked again by Quinn, picked up by Stacey Jones. Quinn chases and makes the tackle.
And again, it's the same play. They've got to change something. They've got to run this ball. The Warriors are playing it very well in regards to defending the kick. They're just letting the Adelaide Rams come up, take the ball, and then they're ready to tackle them.
Logan Swan playing it on his own 30. Now to Pongia. Got past Goldthorpe, can't get past the second line. That's Whelan and made to lose the ball in the tackle of Alan Whelan, and Darren Doherty comes up with it. Adelaide to attack again.
I think they should have attacked the right-hand side, the Rams.
Dion Bird makes 10 metres up the middle, 30 metres out from the Auckland line. Walters once more from dummy half, makes 8 metres, picks up Can running wide, looking to unload. He's slung to ground by Nigel Wagner. Walters away to Whelan. Alan Whelan gets to 10 out from the Auckland line. Walters again. And once more they spin it wide through Quinn, then away to Goldthorpe. Goldthorpe dummies and runs into the shoulder of Wagner, and the touch judge comes in immediately. Wagner saying it was the shoulder. The touch judge says he hit him with an elbow. The crowd calling for him to be set off.
Walk away. Take him away. Take him away. Stay here. No one else stay. Everyone else stay here. I'm going to check the player first. I'll check him. All right? Stay with me or you'll get the report. Are you all right, Goldie? Yeah.
The referee just going over to check on Noel Goldthorpe before he makes a decision.
You all right? Dino?
Obviously, a couple of players, including Dean Skiffaliti, telling the referee what the decision should be. Goldthorpe's okay.
Just taking over in the corner there. I've got a report.
Now let's listen to what he has to say when he gets the touch judge's report. Report from Brian Gilchrist.
Okay. Just have a listen to what the touch judge has to say.
I thought he led with the forearm. Now, I'm not sure of the point of contact, and I think it's worthy of report, that tackle.
Okay. All right. You've heard the report. Now, he believes that you've led with the forearm. He's not sure of the point of contact.
It was
right.
certainly
Now, listen to me. You're going to go and report. All right. Here it is. And you're going to be penalised, okay?
Yeah, we'll make sure the penalties in the crease.
Well, John, he's put him on report, but to be honest with you, I don't think there was anything wrong with that. And we'll see that here in the replay. Oh, I can't see anything wrong. Yeah, that was all shoulder.
All shoulder.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and the touch judge has come in, and I can't see why the referee did not see that tackle and make up his own mind until the touch judge to go back off.
How are you feeling, Graham?
The penalty has gone the way of Adelaide. Joe Wagner will be put on report for the match review committee to look at it during the week. The touch judge, Brian Gilchrist, wasn't sure where the point of contact was, so it'll be up to the match committee to decide.
Well, John, I don't think he'll have to come back to Australia. I think once he goes home, he'll be able to stay there. There will be nothing. No report on that, and he'll be glad to stay at home.
Luke Williamson, from 23 in from touch and 20 out. Looks good off the boot. It is good. And it's out to a try lead. 4 points in front, Adelaide. 18-14 over Auckland. Just on 16 minutes remaining.
Well, they consider themselves very fortunate, the Rams, there, to be able to receive that penalty, but they have been attacking well. I just wish that they'd start to run the ball on the 6 instead of putting the kick up.
That's one!
The problem will be, no doubt, as we've said a couple of times for Adelaide, having two players who are gone for the day in prop forward, Mark Corvo and Graham Appo, from their back line, and Alan Can, who's coming back from a knee injury and will be short of fitness. The interchange bench is cut down. That must be in effect over particularly the last 10 or 12 minutes of the game.
Well, it's sorry, Brett, just to let you know, it's also increased with Tony Iro won't be back either. He's got a hamstring problem.
Right, well, that makes it even more severe with Iro gone.
Well, that last player that you mentioned, Alan Can, I think he's done remarkably well to consider he's still out there when we know that he hasn't played for a number of months now.
Matthew Ridge. Few metres out from his own line. Just cleaning up the kick by Noel Goldthorpe. Stellardi.
This is where the Rams really have to muscle up in defence and try and keep the Warriors inside their 40.
Nigel Wagner brings it outside the 20. Tuamavave. Steve Kearney. Again, Kearney tucks the ball up. Runs it straight into the line. Whelan meets him front on and makes the tackle. Quick play the ball by Kearney. Now back in the arms of Gene Namu for the deep kick. Forcing Dion Bird to go back into the in-goal. It's going to keep rolling, though, these very, very short in-goals here at Adelaide. Just one thing I would like to see the NRL do is standardise in-goals. They can vary between, I think, 6 metres and 11 metres in the rule book.
Yeah,
I'd just like to see a standard.
They've got a minimum and a maximum.
If you're a ticket holder, season ticket holder, or a member, you can pay free entry, but if not, it's just a small $5 cover.
One thing about this ground, of course, Hindmarsh Stadium, it is a soccer ground and is going to be used for some of the Olympic soccer in the year 2000, and the ground will be improved and enlarged as we come towards 2000.
The thing about it, John, as you said, I would like to see the league just introduce a maximum distance and not have a minimum and maximum that way, because a lot of grounds, as we see here, they're using the minimum distance.
Well, I just think every ground has to be the 100 metres in length, the playing field. I can't see why the in-goals can't be the same. They say this is the distance they have to be, and that's it.
Exactly. I mean, we've seen over the last few weeks where some clubs actually change your in-goal area depending on which team they're playing.
Precisely. Auckland with Stacey Jones sneaking through. Caught in the second line of defence, just on his own 20. Adelaide in front of the Warriors by 4. Quinton Pongia. Matthew Ridge just running the angles, coming back on the inside. Ball to be played back by Guttenbeil. Brady Malum, just short of halfway, plays it. Again going deep for Namu to kick. Mistake this time by Gene Namu, puts it out into touch on the full. So the changeover, and Adelaide will get this ball just 40 metres out from the Auckland line. They run it immediately through Pearce.
That was bad play then, John, by the Warriors. I think, too, they were looking at a 40-20, and that's possibly where they've come undone. He's made the angle too great to get the kick in field.
Whelan putting the ball on the ground, picked up by Auckland. Referee will rule, though, that Auckland were offside. Steve Kearney, you don't have to be a lip reader to know what he thought of the decision. Didn't like it at all, but yes. Now the chance for Luke Williamson to take them out to a converted try in front.
Yes, as you said, Steve Kearney, he obviously didn't agree, and he's still not agreeing with the decision. It was a bit of a tough call. He obviously didn't realise that they'd taken the ball from the player, and the Auckland player had dived on it was offside. One thing about Kelvin Jeffs, he looks as if he's enjoying himself out there.
He won't be when he leaves the field, I'll tell you that.
I was going to say, I don't know whether he'd be too happy about leaving the field, but he's certainly enjoying himself while he's out there.
Thank you.
Now Luke Williamson, I thought he probably would have taken this ball back a little more. It's a fairly severe angle that he's given himself. He's inside the 20 and 20 in from touch.
And the breeze is coming across his, basically directly across him from his left.
Well, being a goal-kicking expert as I am, John, I probably would agree with you. I would have taken it back at least 23 metres.
As far as goal-kicking is concerned, I could never even get them off the mound, so who am I to talk? Here's the kick, and it's just away. Genius, aren't we?
See, another 3 metres back and he would have curled in.
Hey, swing!
So no change to the score. Adelaide lead by 18-14. 10 minutes remaining. A vital 10 minutes as far as Auckland are concerned. Pongia playing the ball. Could have brought a penalty there. He wasn't allowed to get to his feet and play it quickly, but the referee said play on. Endicott goes to dummy half and gives it away to Namu. That pass was forward, surely, and the referee will call it back for a knock on. I think had he got it, he was going to let that one go.
But John, I can't understand what the touch judges are doing. Surely the touch judge would have witnessed that that was a forward pass as we see it here.
Where is he?
Oh, that was a good metre in front.
I can't remember which play it was. No, he's gone off. He's gone off.
The touch judge hasn't even given the referee any hint.
Well, given they've had a try Could be a crucial try when they review season 1998, the Warriors, which came off a forward pass. But Goldthorpe works the scrum. Switch back on the inside to Whelan. 32 metres out. Chris Quinn wide to Williamson. Has Bird on the outside. Elects to try and run himself. Can't get past Nigel Wagner. Dion Bird.
That's right.
He's got more strapping on him than Hondo Grattan. Back to Whelan.
But can he run as fast as Hondo Grattan?
It's pretty quick, the old Hondo, let me tell you. Here's Kerrod Walters.
Dion Bird can fly.
Oh, that's one of your worst. That is one of the worst.
Had to get it in.
Ball played back by Can. 12 metres out from the line. Skiffaliddy with the kick across field. Darian Doherty goes back forward, bats it back. Back in the arms of Williamson. Again on the last. Williamson uses the kick. Shane Endicott picks it up but then fumbles into the in goal and is forced to a goal line dropout.
Well, again, they resorted to the kick. As we see it here, it was knocked back. And Luke Williamson puts a little kick, very well weighted, put the pressure back on the Warriors. I mean, they've made a liar out of me then. They've got the ball back, but really, you know, they're playing the same plays all the time. I think they've got to start running the ball.
Time is ticking away for Auckland, just 7 minutes remaining, and Adelaide back into possession once more on tackle number 130 from the line. Darian Doherty with another hard run. He's done well, Doherty, considering the knock he had in the first half. Back to Alan Whelan. Whelan charges to 5 metres out from the Auckland line.
Got to go to the right.
Calling the shots, and right is where he goes to Goldthorpe, who switches it once more to Doherty. His second touch in this set of 6. Back to Walters again. Walters giving his pass away. Can trying to bullock his way through. 2 metres out. Last coming up now for Adelaide. In the shadows of the goalpost, it's played to Walters, then across to Pearce. On it goes to Dion Bird. Shapes to kick, then runs, puts it into the in goal and dives on it. Dion Bird. And that could be the end of the Auckland Warriors for 1998. Ta-da, Auckland. Adelaide score the try. Their fullback Dion Bird scores. And they've got this game won, Adelaide, 22-14 and an easy kick to cut.
Well, finally, they've decided to run the ball to the line. You see Bird has the ball in his hands, ran it to the line, put the little grubber through. Bit of a tricky bounce for Matthew Ridge. He followed on, and Bird's come up with a good try. So I'd like to take some credit for that, John. I think they finally heard me. It's a very good little kick. And it wasn't Matthew Ridge. It was Shane Endicott. Unable to come up with the ball.
And you're right, he can fly.
He flew, didn't he? He flew to get that ball.
Like a bird of prey.
Exactly, he actually flew across the ground as well. As you say, that's the end of the Warriors for the season. And the Rams again, still undefeated at Hindmarsh Stadium.
Plucked it out of the air.
The Auckland side, a dejected lot they are.
Yes, John, I mean, there's not much for them to say now. I think they realise that that's it for them for 1998.
What a disappointment they are. They pull on the black and white jerseys of New Zealand and their world beaters, but they're just an absolute enigma, the Auckland Warriors. Same coach for the Test side, Frank Endicott. It's the kick by Williamson, no goal. 22-14 it is. Let's watch the try again that has sunk the Warriors.
We're talking about opportunity, and that's all it was there. Just a chance to kill off Auckland for good, and to Dion Bird. Finally heard you just said, Brett Kenny, and that's the end of Auckland season, 1998.
Matthew Ridge going for the short kick-off. Adelaide, though, able to come down with it.
Just an interesting sidelight on Dion Bird. We've made a bit of a comment about his last name, but he certainly has been around the world. He's started off at Brisbane, went to Paris, came back, played for Redcliffe, also played for Wynnum Manly, so he's certainly flown everywhere, hasn't he?
Always been a good attacking player, Dion Bird. If there has been one problem with his game, it's been his defence, and I know it's an area that Dean Lance will certainly be working hard on. But as far as a fullback who can come into a back line, knows the time to come in, and does have speed, Dion Bird is a fine player.
He likes to be involved too. He doesn't sit back and wait. He tries to create his own opportunities.
Not done with yet as Chris Quinn puts in a little kick into the in goal, and Matthew Ridge will have to take it over the dead ball line. So they're finishing much the stronger, Adelaide. And Auckland, well, this last 3 minutes just can't go quickly enough for them. Again, the short goal line dropout goes down once more to Bird. Nine metres out is where the ball is played. Walters giving it across to Whelan. Alan Whelan, another player who came from the Adelaide Feeder Club in Brisbane Western Suburbs and has played well for them. Back once more to Dion Bird. Bird trying to slip it away to Grimley, couldn't do so. Auckland come up with possession.
Let him up.
Nigel Wagner brings it outside his own 20.
Come on, Andrew, come on.
Jones. Then to Namu. Kearney couldn't take it. Picked up by Noel Goldthorpe. Had he been able to keep his feet, there was no one in front of him. Just stumbled, lost his footing, and the tackle made by Namu. Now to Daylight. Matt Daylight heading towards the posts.
Roll away, Shane. Roll away.
Scoot from dummy half, Kerrod Walters.
Away to Doherty. Doherty tries to suck in the defence. He took 3 of them in, but couldn't get the pass away.
Let him up.
Alan can. Will he try to go from dummy half? He doesn't. Looks for the runner. It's Whelan.
I'm going in here, Steve.
A metre from the line. Played back through Walters. Then to Skiffaliddy. Away to Chris Quinn. Quinn gives a pass which is loose. Eventually going to be picked up though by the Auckland Warriors. Ball to be played by Tutupu on his own 20. Now to Stellati. Paul Stellati. He loses his footing but gets the pass away to Jones. Got it on to Endicott. Then away to Logan Swan. Quick hands back to Stacey Jones. Pushes it away to Paul Stellati. Gets over halfway, Stellati. Tackled, not held, now put to ground by Cam.
That was very good ball movement by the Warriors. Unfortunately, it's all too late.
Stay up, Quiddy.
Steve Kearney. Kearney to the line. Back to Swan. Then to Jones. Then away through Namu. Namu switching it back on the inside. Guttenbeil running hard. Gets to Kerrod Walters. Walters makes the tackle. Good cover by Kerrod Walters. 2 metres out. Guttenbeil to play the ball. Through Stephen Kearney. Then away to Matthew Ridge. Only 2 metres out. That's where the ball will be played by the Auckland Warriors. Ridge goes from dummy half and gets over and scores. It's come all too late for Auckland. Matthew Ridge scores a consolation try. In the end, they might go down by 2, but that's going to sink their season.
He's not going to take his time either with his kick, Matthew Ridge. I guess Auckland have got to live with a bit of hope and not too much. Only got 20 seconds, unless they can score straight off this kickoff.
Kick by Matthew Ridge, probably the quickest conversion we've ever seen. Considering that he was the try scorer.
And this try came from a great break by the Auckland Warriors. Matthew Ridge picked up, throw the dummy, straight over.
Time has beaten them. There won't be a restart to play. Adelaide remain undefeated in their 2 home games here at Hindmarsh Stadium. First the Tigers, then the Warriors. But desperation as far as Auckland is concerned. They had to win today to stay alive in 1998. Their hopes of making the 10 have gone. 22 points to 20 it is. Kerrod Walters, I think, would be the choice, the universal choice as our NEC man of the match. He led the Adelaide Rams right from the front. Terrific performance by him.
He certainly did. Had a great game and ran very well from dummy half.
Kerrod Walters, the NEC man of the match. The Adelaide Rams get home by 2. Full-time score, Adelaide 22, Auckland 20.